Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Everyday, coming to you live and direct as usual from the Star's brand new Studio V at the One Utama Shopping Centre here in PJ. I'm Nelson, and with me the usual Football Everyday guys, Shebby and Zach. Hello guys. Back another week. Time really flies. Loads to look forward to in today's show as usual, because along with all the football chat, a couple of die-hard football fans will be joining us later on to chat about Malaysian football fans in general. And we'll also be discussing, of course, the Star Tiger FC Gunning for Glory contest, which of course is into its second week this week. But getting straight into the football chat though, plenty of interesting matches taking place this weekend. But we've got to start with the league leaders, Man United, who are now 5 points clear at the top, having beaten Fulham 3-0 this morning, who next face Blackburn at Old Trafford. Shebby, going to be another straightforward win for United.
It is. I don't see how Blackburn are going to trouble them, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say yes, Van der Sar will be beaten on the weekend. I do fancy Roque Santa Cruz or Jason Roberts or Benny McCarthy to put the ball past him. I thought Fulham were very, very poor, but Blackburn will be a sterner test, but still not good enough.
Right, not nearly good enough, Sheb, you know.
Do you agree with Shebby, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I just really, I think they're on course to retain the title, and I don't see anyone else. I mean, Arsene Wenger's right. During the week, he said they're pretty much untouchable at the moment, and I can't see anything to disagree with that, you know.
I mean, score prediction, Shebby?
I'm going to go with a 2-1. I think it'll be a bit difficult because Sam Allardyce was watching the game. He was at Old Trafford watching the Fulham game. He will have a tactical plan or a ploy, but might not be good enough, but enough to trouble Man United. Enough, I think, to make Man United work harder than they did against Fulham.
But Shebby, let me ask you this. Are you bored of saying another win, another clean sheet every week? I mean, surely it has to end at some point, right? This amazing run.
I mean, the clean sheet, I think, will end on the weekend. But if you look around, Zach, there are not too many teams who you think can trouble Man United. The only ones are Aston Villa. I think Villa in top form could give Man United a game. But the rest of the division, don't see it happening.
Not at the moment, at least, right? All right, let's move on to another interesting game that catches the eye. Liverpool welcome Manchester City to Anfield. Shebby, home win, away win, or
draw? No, I'm going to go with a draw. A couple of reasons why. Number one, because Champions League is next midweek, and you all know Rafa normally has kittens before the Champions League matches, so it'll be a much changed team. Number two, Man City enjoy playing against teams who pass the ball. They like it when it's on the ground. Let's pass it. Tippy-tappy football. Man City don't like it when you get stuck into them, as Portsmouth did in the last game. So that is why I think the Brazilians will look at themselves and think well, we've got to show people what we really are made of, that we can play. But so that is my reasons why I think City could get a point off.
Don't forget, City are horrible on the road, right? They just can't seem to travel. They get out of Manchester and it all goes pear-shaped for City most weeks. So.
Yeah, they don't have far to travel this time, so
it's the bus.
No, but I think sooner or later, you've got to. So I look at the brand of football. I think Man City will enjoy more possession than usual against lower teams. So that is why they could get a draw.
So you're going with the 1-1?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 1-1.
Speaking of predictions, guys, we've got this email, right? That I think Zach is
very scathing.
He's been itching to kind of read out,
how bad we are with predictions.
Do I have to read?
No, not at all. No,
just to sum up, right? I mean, basically, this chap, Mr. Kumar, thanks for writing in, and he pretty much says that we are. For want of a better word, not very good at what we do in terms of predictions. Apparently, we don't hit the mark too often. What do you say to that, Shebby? This prediction luck, it's not as easy as people make it out to be, right?
No, it's not easy. I mean, I would hate to challenge somebody like Kumar and say, all right, let's see this weekend how well you go. But this is what makes football so beautiful. If I got my predictions right, if I could hit 70-80% every week, I'll be sitting on a beach somewhere,
but just to clarify, I mean, Mr. Kumar, we're not experts, so we never profess to be.
I think even the experts get it wrong, Zach. I've seen a certain newspaper in Malaysia, an English newspaper. I mean, they normally come out with their predictions. I tell you what, they get about 10% every week. So
brilliant.
And I mean,
but that's the beauty of it. Let's get our predictions right, because if football becomes too predictable, then I think
right.
I have to look for
all we
job.
can do is make our predictions, and a simple red card or a poor refereeing decision changes things.
But lads, I love emails like this because it just goes to show that
they care about us.
They care. So keep them flooding in. Obviously, you can write to us right here on this show. The address to contact us is football@thestar.com.my. Keep them rolling in, right?
That's right, great stuff, guys. But we've got to take a short little break right now, but we'll be back before you know it right here on Football Everyday, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Football Everyday, here on the second segment today. And as mentioned earlier on the show, we're joined now by two very special guests, and they are Mr. Gogulan from the Aston Villa fan club, right?
Club, yeah.
Along with Mr. John Thubron, who's an avid Sunderland fan. Welcome to Football Everyday, guys.
Yeah, welcome,
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Got to ask you first, Gogulan, how long have you been a member of the Aston Villa Football Club? Aston Villa fan club.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Well, I've just started up the fan club. We've been trying to start up the fan club. I've been a fan since the 80s, from back in the day in 82 when Peter Witt created history.
Wow.
European champions.
I remember that.
We were champions of all of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and slowly we've got a friend, Malaysian, who's working in Villa Park, who's helped us out a lot.
Right.
And slowly but surely we've got Zach, who's helped us out a lot, and also Zach and Daryl, who have helped us out a lot, and also we've come up to about 20 fans now.
Right.
So it's relatively new. We watch at the Fish and Chips in KL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, magnificent
Fish and Chips.
Nice place.
One of the owners is a Villa fan too.
Right.
Yeah.
So could you tell us what usually happens on a typical match day? What happens at Fish and Chips?
Well,
during an Aston Villa match, so to speak.
Well, we all get hammered. we all
literally and metaphorically.
Metaphorically, yeah. Well, it's very stressful watching Villa play.
Right.
These days,
but I think not recently, right?
No, yeah. These days it's much more. But being a Villa fan, you never know. We're so used to back in the day that we always.
What I really like to know is the morning after, especially John. How do you feel the morning after? Because like Spurs, Sunderland don't win too many games. Are you really miserable the next day, or do you kick the neighbour's cat, or?
I was more miserable after I've actually been to the game. If I just watch it on telly here, then I tend not to be too down unless it's against Newcastle. But when you're going to the game at Sunderland, and the next day, if you've had a bad day, you've got a hangover, you've got beat, and everyone's taking the mickey out of you. But being a Sunderland fan, I'm quite used to it now.
What made you a Sunderland fan? To start with,
all my family's from Sunderland.
Wow.
My uncle, he's 84 now. He's been going all his life. I was telling Zach, one of the interesting stories is on his 80th birthday, we went to the Stadium of Light, had a birthday party there, and afterwards they do a tour of the ground, and we're walking down by the executive boxes, just past Sky Television executive box, and there's a picture of the 1931 team on the wall, and no names. And my uncle stopped me and went, "Hey John," and he named every single player, and I thought that was really, really proud moment. But I went my first game when I was 8-year-old with my granddad on the Roker, in the old Roker Park, in the Roker end, and we don't have a choice where we're from.
Right. I've got to ask you. What's your overall view of football fans here in Malaysia? Most of them you find usually support the top four: Man U, Liverpool, Chelsea,
we got you
Arsenal.
lads on the show because it was nice to get some fans that outside of the Sky Four, as I like to call them. What's it like being a Sunderland fan in Malaysia, and a Villa fan as well?
Yeah, well, what I would say, when I first arrived here and I got off the aeroplane and had my Sunderland underpants on, and the first thing I saw was a Malaysian with a Newcastle top on, so I was that far away from getting back on the plane. But I will say...
You thought you got in a way?
Yeah, just... but I was quite impressed when I saw Sunderland top down Chinatown, so everything was sweet. But
that's not from Chinatown, is it, John?
No. My mum got for Christmas. Yes, 34 still get Christmas presents. I think the fans here are extremely passionate. It's really pleasing to see teams coming out here like Man U. I think that's quite a good thing. And I think the knowledge, I never thought in a million years that growing up in England, the fans outside of England would be so knowledgeable. And you know, the other great thing is the amount of football on TV here. It's great. It gets more every year. So.
And
what about you, Gogo? I mean, Gogo.
Well, I'd like to clarify that we are the new top 4.
The new Sky 4.
Yeah, the new Sky. Next season.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first. But yeah, I mean, you walk around with a Villa top and it's fun because everybody makes a second look, you know, and then some people who studied in Birmingham say, "You sure you're a Villa fan?" I say, "Yeah." You know, it's a matter of conversation, and you're not top 4, and I like taking the Mickey out of the top 4.
And what is your opinion about football pundits?
Do we still have time?
I hate you, Shabby.
That's a whole different show altogether.
That's a whole different show altogether.
But mate, we're gonna take a little break.
We're gonna take a little break right now. Just hold that thought, right? We'll be right here on Football Every Day after this short break, so keep it locked. And you're back with us once again here on Football Every Day for the third and final segment of today's show. Just before we continue the chat about all the football and with our fans today, just before we talk about the next game again, let's remind you that the Star Tiger FC Gunning for Glory contest is into week 2, and your next 2 questions, will be coming out in tomorrow's Football Everyday Pullout. So once again, for 4 consecutive Fridays, make sure to collect all 8 questions until March 6 before compiling the answers, completing a simple slogan and sending entries to us either by email at football@thestar.com.my, by hand at our office in Menara Star, or by mail no later than Friday, March 13th. And at the end of the contest period, we'll have a grand finale right here at Studio V, where all the finalists will face off for the grand prizes, which are, of course, 2 all-expenses paid trips to the UK to catch Arsenal versus Chelsea live on May 9th. All right.
Nice.
All right. Carrying on with the football chat, where we left off. Got to ask Gogolan, this week's big match, Aston Villa, your team, against Chelsea. Gus Hiddink first game in charge. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, it doesn't come any bigger than that game.
Yep.
Gus Hiddink, first game in charge, new manager syndrome. They're going to come out all guns blazing, something to prove. But Villa also got something to prove this year. And we prefer playing Chelsea than any of the top 4 actually, because we always get a good result.
Yeah.
And from past experience, we haven't done that well at home this season, because teams usually come out and attack us and we play them on the counter away. But I think Chelsea will be coming and attacking us on all fronts, and we will have a lot of holes to exploit with our speedy young Bonloho up there.
But Gogolan, I mean, Villa have had a lot of good fortune this season, and they played well against the top 4 as well. Do you see the same thing happening this weekend? I mean, like you say, Chelsea's one of those teams Villa seem to like to play, right?
Yeah, because like you say, they give us a lot of space and we exploit it. Hiddink is a very shrewd tactician. He watched us last night when we played CSK Moscow, and he would make notes, but I think we will come up with a good result over the weekend.
But Shabby, got to ask you, now that Hiddink has taken over, do you think we'll see a much changed Chelsea side in terms of tactics, or
Tactically, I think they will be tighter. Defensively, they will be tighter, because I don't think that Hiddink will change too much. But if we look at Gus Hiddink, if you go back to South Korea, you look at Australia, very, very pragmatic, very fit, very well organized defensively. So don't expect Chelsea to suddenly come out there and play a different brand of football, because it's not going to happen. So that is why I'm leaning towards Villa as well with Gogolan. I think Villa had a poor game last weekend. I think Martin O'Neill would have looked at that and he'll freshen the team up as well. And if they play their normal high tempo game, they've got a great chance. And I think beat Chelsea, and I think Aston Villa's top 4 slot will be secured.
Of course, Gareth Barry coming back is a
Barry's
plus
coming
as well,
back. And I totally agree with Shabby. We beat Chelsea. We showed our credentials. It's there for us to take.
Okay. Well, I just want to ask our Sunderland fan over there. John, you've got a massive game this weekend as well. Obviously, Sunderland taking on Arsenal at the Emirates.
Yep. Can they get a result?
That's a tough match, man.
It is a tough match. But at home earlier on in the season in October, we were winning 1-0 with about 3 or 4 minutes into overtime. They got that goal. So I think we're unlucky last time we played them. And I think the previous games the seasons have been quite close as well. Yeah. So I'm actually going to put my neck out and I encourage Kumar to email in and tell me how good I am. I think we might sneak a result this weekend. I think at least a draw, but I'm going to go 1-0, and I think it'll be Kenwyne Jones with the head.
John, I mean, like, you know, Ricky Sprague's come in. Do you think, what do you think is, you know, are the bigger changes he has made? I mean, I don't see a different brand of football, so to speak, but perhaps attitudes have changed. But in your opinion, what has he brought to Sunderland?
I think he's just brought a little bit of grounding. I think Roy Keane is he's larger than life. He came with a huge reputation. Within the first season there in the Championship, he turned everything around, and there was a euphoria on Weir side. I think what happened, Keane lost interest. I think he just purely lost interest in the whole thing, and that might have been something to do with the quality of his signings, maybe the attitude of some of the players. We've got a huge squad, they're on big contracts, and it's hard to get rid of some of these players, and so I think he just lost a little bit of interest.
John, do you see Ricky Sprague as a long-term coach, or do you think he's just filling in for someone? Has he got what it takes? I mean, like, would you as a Sunderland fan say, yeah, Ricky Sprague is going to take us places?
I don't think he's going to take us places, purely based on the fact that I don't think he'll be able to attract that higher quality or calibre player, because he's an unknown entity. Sunderland miraculously give him a few years to work it out, and he wins something like the Carling Cup or something like that. Then perhaps, you know, he might get a little bit of money to spend. But I think you might see a new face next season.
Great stuff. But got to cut you off there. Sorry. Quick one, Shabby. Score prediction: Villa, Chelsea.
I'm going to go with 2-1 Villa.
And Arsenal, Sunderland?
3-0 Arsenal.
Alright, guys, thanks a lot for joining us on the show. That's all the time we have on today's edition of Football Everyday. Once again, very quickly, make sure to look out for the Star Tiger FC Gunning for Glory contest questions coming out tomorrow in the Football Everyday Pullout. Till we see you next Thursday here on Football Everyday. Enjoy football and ciao.